Hey guys, it's Nick here from That Student Life Australia, and today we are going to talk about bouncing back from a bad exam. Alright, so before we jump into a few tips and tricks to bounce back from a bad exam, a story first. When I was in year 11, right at the start, the jump from year 10 to year 11, I started doing extension maths and I failed the first 3 maths exams in spectacular fashion. I wasn't used to failing exams. Like in year 10, anything less than 85 generally was pretty disappointing. Sections are out of 12, by the way. To get 4, if that's not focusing, a 4 out of 15 in a section of a maths exam is absolutely mind-blowing. I didn't even know what to do, what to think. And I had to sort of stop and take a step back for a second and think, how do I fix this? I was, apart from not being able to do the maths, quite obviously, I didn't know what the next step was. I didn't know how to sort of bounce back and say, all right, how do I get better at this? And that's sort of what I'm going to be focusing on in this video. The steps that I took to bounce back from getting 4s out of 15s to getting like high 90s. So the very first and pretty crucial step in bouncing back from an exam or a bad exam is to realise that in the long run, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really define you as a person. If you know within yourself that you're capable of achieving better, which is probably the reason why you're actually disappointed with your exam, then who cares? It doesn't matter. You can move on to bigger and better things. And sometimes it looks like this big, insurmountable hurdle that you just can't get past. But let me illustrate the point I'm trying to make. Alright, so this is an illustration of what a bad exam feels like versus reality. What? Okay, so this is you all upset after a bad exam, and it feels like you have to climb this big sort of mountain to get to exam success. Basically, you feel like you have to climb this big mountain to and climb all the way back down to get to your goals. This is false. What reality looks like is this is you, sad face, bad exam. This tiny little mound is what we call a bad exam. And what that little bad exam does, instead of having to climb up it and be exhausted about all the effort and the work that you're putting in, it slingshots you on this nice downhill run. Post bad exam motivation gives you a downhill run because you use that anger that you have or whatever to slingshot you all the way towards goals plus exam success. And this is reality. This is how it works. You realize that proportionally this tiny mound here is much smaller than the benefit that you get out of having a bad exam. By having a bad exam, you're going to be more motivated to achieve your goals and to achieve exam success versus what it feels like where you feel like you have to climb a big mountain in order to achieve your goals and exam success. This is reality. This is not. Another unique step in bouncing back from exams is to actually let that poor exam shape your exam technique for future tests. But after that sort of hysteria of having a bad test has sort of settled, look back through the exam and actually figure out what went wrong. Like why didn't you get the marks? So I let that shape my exam technique. I realized that you shouldn't focus on tackling big problems and just get bogged down with it. You can't do it. Bang, move on. Highlight it, move on. And that allowed me to excel a lot. By analysing the other exam, I could figure out a better plan to go into the next exam with, and that helped in turn improve my exam results. So the biggest hurdle probably in bouncing back from any kind of bad event but an exam more so, it's overcoming that psychological barrier of, can I achieve better than this? And you start to think, well, maybe this is my limit. Maybe I'm not good at this. And the hardest part, I promise you, in getting past bad exams is to get past that psychological wall. So you should use a poor exam as motivation to sort of slingshot you forward into the next exam. Because if you're upset with your results, that means in turn that you believe that you can achieve better results. And certainly you can. You just have to work that little bit harder, figure out what went wrong, and that'll slingshot you into achieving better results in the future. Once you overcome that psychological barrier, and start pushing, start using that poor exam as motivation, you're going to be able to bounce back from bad exams in future a whole lot better. The final recap of what we talked about was that it doesn't matter. In the long run, you're going to go on, you're going to achieve way bigger, better things than this crappy exam. And just use it. Use it as a tool to improve your exams in future, but don't associate yourself with it, because that exam is not a reflection on your ability, and you know that you can achieve better if you're upset with it. So that's it for this video, guys. It's Nick from That Student Life Australia. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.